On this week's episode of GWeek.
I categorically and unequivocally deny the allegation against me by Dr. Ford.
All eyes and ears have been on Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Christine Blasey Ford as they shared emotional testimonies in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Crossfire moderator and GWTV political correspondent Michael Schnell joins us.
This could not be a case of mistaken identity.
Absolutely not.
Thank you, Mr.
Safety on campus. We give you an insight into one student's experience with crime on campus and highlight the incidents that have occurred this semester. And Devin Link comes in studio to talk about our fun new way of featuring GW students here on GWeek. Stay with us.
Welcome to GWeek. I'm Ethan Evers.
And I'm Vruti Venkatesan. Leading our show tonight, the Cavanaugh hearings. Michael, thank you so much for joining us in studio today.
Thanks for having me, guys. So the political story that has taken over Washington, the confirmation of Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. Let's unpack things. Rewind to July. From a short list of 25 candidates, President Trump nominated U.S. Court of Appeals Circuit Judge Cavanaugh to fill Justice Kennedy's spot on the bench. The double Yale graduate and former clerk for Justice Kennedy addressed the nation from the White House East Room beside his two daughters and his wife on July 9th, talking about his family, his law-based background, and his core values. From the beginning, many Americans believed that Kavanaugh's confirmation process would be relatively quick and simple, until September 16th, when Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, a former high school classmate of Kavanaugh's, came public with an allegation accusing the judge of sexual assault at a high school party the two attended in the early 1980s. During a conversation with the Washington Post, Ford, a professor at Palo Alto University, recounted an inebriated Kavanaugh forcing himself on her in an empty bedroom at a high school party. Kavanaugh quickly denied these allegations. On September 23rd, Deborah Ramirez accused the judge of sexual assault when the two were peers at Yale. Ramirez told The New Yorker that an intoxicated Kavanaugh exposed his genitals to her at a party the two were at. Again, Kavanaugh rushed to his defense, fully and completely denying all allegations that she had made. And finally, on September 26th, attorney Michael Avenatti tweeted an affidavit signed by Julie Swetnick, alleging that Kavanaugh would spike drinks at high school parties and would participate in gang rapes, one in which Swetnick herself was involved with. Swetnick is a former government employee who at one point held several government clearances. On September 24th, in the midst of this frenzy, Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford sat down with the Senate Judiciary Committee for a public testimony under oath to discuss the sexual assault allegation at hand. An emotional Dr. Ford appeared before the committee first, explaining the details of her alleged situation, expressing her undeniable positivity that Kavanaugh was indeed the one who assaulted her. Kavanaugh appeared before the committee second, expressing a rather stronger, angry demeanor. Kavanaugh denied the allegations fully and completely. The next day, the Senate Judiciary Committee held their vote. In the 11th hour, Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona cast his vote with a twist. Flake explained that he would vote yes on Kavanaugh's nomination, but demanded the FBI undergo an investigation into Dr. Ford's claims. When the vote was split on party lines in favor of Kavanaugh's confirmation, 11-10, and the FBI investigation began. On Wednesday, the FBI report was released for senators' eyes only and reported that no additional evidence corroborating the sexual assault allegations were found. Neither Kavanaugh nor Ford were interviewed for the investigation. So, after months of debate, the million-dollar question, will Kavanaugh be confirmed? What are you guys thinking?
I have a strong feeling that it's going to be yes.
I definitely agree.
I think that we've seen throughout the course of the past 2 weeks, and Chuck Grassley said 87 days, that the GOP senators and Grassley are firmly behind Brett Kavanaugh, especially after this FBI report came out.
I have to agree. Before the FBI report, before the testimony even, I thought that maybe there was a chance he wouldn't be confirmed, that the senators would realize that would take these allegations to a certain thought process, and they would say, you know what, maybe we're better off going with a different candidate. But now, after the FBI report came out and said that there's no extra evidence, I really don't see anything in his way to going to the bench.
I really don't think there was any doubt that he was going to be confirmed. I believe that a lot of the Republicans were really firm in their beliefs and were the support behind Kavanaugh. I don't think the testimony from Dr. Ford was really going to do anything to sway them.
Well,
When you have senators like Jeff Flake, who even said, I will only vote yes under one circumstance, that there is an FBI report. So I think that there was like that questioning spirit, that possibility. But now I think that he's got a clear path.
Well, if he does get confirmed, and even actually based off of the hearings thus far, what does this mean for the upcoming midterm elections then?
Voter turnout, I think, is going to skyrocket.
Agreed. I think voter turnout from both sides of the aisle is going to skyrocket, from both Democrats and Republicans. Democrats definitely want to vote out these people who moved forward Cavanaugh with his nomination. They definitely don't like having them in seats of power, so they're trying to get them out as quickly as possible. But also, Republicans are going to try and ramp up their numbers so they can keep those people in power as well, because they're definitely behind Cavanaugh. They definitely think that he's a good judge. They think he'll be impartial and will follow the Constitution accurately. So I think a lot of conservatives are going to make their way to the polls and make sure that these people stay in office.
And I think just speaking towards the Democrats going to the polls also and their voter turnout increasing, it's important to note that letters of impeachment begin in the House. So Democratic representatives will be the ones, if he is confirmed and if they decide to go forward with possible impeachment, they are the ones who can start that process. So I think that Democrats who are angry with him possibly being confirmed will have that in mind, say, you know what, if I want him out of there, if he gets in there, I got to put Democratic representatives in.
I think that's the narrative they've been using with their constituents. I think they've said, we're raising money to bring it back for the midterm elections. If you don't like what's happening, make that change and vote during the midterm election.
And I think that the other day we saw that millions of people came together in Washington to protest Cavanaugh's possible nomination. So if he is nominated, these people, this group of people, they are invigorated, they're energized, and they're going straight to the polls to continue voicing their opinions.
Do you think Americans are going to lose faith in the Supreme Court after this?
It's a tough question. Do I think they'll lose faith? The Supreme Court is the highest. It's one of the highest. Supreme Court justice is one of the highest positions in the land.
Exactly.
I don't think that they'll lose faith in it entirely. The sentiment towards it will definitely be a little different, considering what has happened in the past 87 days.
But I don't think it's necessarily going to be that they're losing faith in the Supreme Court. I think Americans, and specifically I think more liberals, they're losing faith. No, actually, I take that back. I say liberals and conservatives are all slightly losing faith in their government, whether it be with the executive branch that we see, or even the Congress, or even the Supreme Court. Let's bring the judicial branch.
Or what
now.
about just the partisan nature of this entire country altogether? We have never seen such a rift this strong between the Democrats and the Republicans. It's astonishing.
And I think something like this was something where the country was divided on the Supreme Court nominee was bound to happen. But the fact that it has now turned into something bigger, of course, it divided the country even further.
Absolutely. It's inevitable. It's just what happens.
Let's talk about one last thing before we wrap this up. The two faces of Brett Kavanaugh. That played a big part in the past testimonies and all the hearings that we've seen. What do we think?
So I don't know about you guys, but on July 9th, when I was watching his nomination speech, oh my God, Judge Kavanaugh, saying next to his daughters, his wife, he coached his daughter's basketball team.
Kept talking about it, how he was
his
so
morals,
invested.
his
Yeah.
mother,
Exactly.
how she was a very prominent lawyer, and he said always practice your cases like this. I said he seems like a good guy. I don't really see anything that could happen. And then the Brett Kavanaugh we saw at the testimony, that was a totally different person, a totally different face, demeanor, everything.
I couldn't agree more. He was angry, he was hurt, he wanted to clear his name as much as possible, and he came off really rude towards a lot of the senators.
But I think also on the flip side, a lot of GOP senators pointed out that if your morals were in question and your integrity as a human were in question, would you not react the same?
I understand. I definitely see that. But the question is, if he's confirmed to one of the highest positions in the land, which Brett Kavanaugh are we going to see for possibly the next upwards of 30 years?
Question.
That's the question. Which one are we nominating?
Well, if he is confirmed, we are to find out what happens next.
Absolutely.
When we come back, we'll take a look at safety on our own campus. Stay with us. And this is GWTV.
You nailed that. Good job, guys.
Welcome back to the show. GW's Division of Safety and Security released its 2017 Security and Fire Safety Report this week, an annual report that outlines university crime statistics and safety on campus.
The report revealed that in 2017, 33 incidents of rape on the Foggy Bottom campus were reported to GWPD, a sharp increase from the 2 reported in 2016. 5 rape incidents were reported on the Mount Vernon campus, compared to 0 in 2016. Sexual assault survivors and third parties can report incidents to GWPD, the Title IX office, or online at GW Haven.
Living and studying in a big city like D.C. means safety is often on students' minds. Reporter Mimi Jurian spoke with a recent victim of assault on campus and explored the broader issue of student safety.
I'm standing outside of Amsterdam Hall, where earlier this school year a female student was assaulted while walking home to her off-campus apartment. This issue raises many questions about GW's campus safety, a rising concern for many students.
Sophomore Hannah Glazier was walking home across from Amsterdam Hall on September 16th when she was suddenly assaulted by a man hiding in the bushes.
When I was walking by, this man was hiding behind this tall plant, and I didn't realize that there was someone until I kind of walked by. And he jumped out and grabbed my shoulders and was shaking me, got away and ran across the street. And as other students were walking out of Amsterdam Hall, he ran away.
Unfortunately, students across campus have been having similar experiences this school year. From September 14th to September 23rd, the university sent out 4 GW alerts in 1 week time period. These were for a robbery on 8th Street, groping in Gelman, suspicious person in Rome Hall, and Hannah's assault outside of Amsterdam Hall.
My mom called me very, very worried, and she also was kind of mad at me that I was walking home alone, and also GWPD I talked to, and they said that the campus is relatively safe, they don't have many instances of this kind of thing happening, but what they'll do is they'll try and find the person and bar them from campus. They said that they've done it a lot with homeless people because they said they hang around here because they know that we're people that have soft hearts.
Last week, the university released its annual Security and Fire Safety Report, which revealed that campus crime has declined or remained relatively flat in the past 3 years. The report reveals that a total of 4 aggravated assaults, 7 robberies, and 13 fondlings were reported on the Foggy Bottom and Mount Vernon campus in 2017. Crime data for 2018 has not been released.
This is Mimi Jurian reporting for GWeek.
Thanks, Mimi. GW dropped 7 spots in the newest U.S. News & World Report annual college ranking. The university moved from 56th in 2018 to 63rd in 2019. This year, the U.S. News & World Report altered its methodology for ranking universities, which resulted in multiple institutions shifting spots. President Thomas LeBlanc assured the university that despite these movements, GW holds the same goals. Quote, "What doesn't change is our mission, which is to provide a world-class education for our students and to support the exploration of new ideas by our students, faculty, staff, and alumni." A flood in GW's Guthridge Hall has forced some students to relocate. GWeek reporter Julia Albert was at the scene.
Several of GW's Guthridge Hall residents experienced flooding and water damage in their rooms after a pipe recently burst. An HVAC pipe reportedly broke mid-morning on Guthridge Hall's 5th floor, leading to an evacuation of the entire building. Frustrated residents stood outside their residence hall, waiting for GWPD and the fire department to arrive. Once the water was shut off, residents were allowed to re-enter the building and the pipe was repaired later that day. The most impacted residents on the 5th floor have been forced to relocate until damages have been repaired. One of the impacted residents, who wishes to remain anonymous, told GWeek that it took a lot of nudging to get the university to be more helpful, but in the end, they were incredible. The student also said that GW assisted the residents with replacing their belongings. The university placed the impacted students in a hotel near the metro, but have not yet given them a date when they will be able to return to their rooms. For GWeek, this is Julia Albert.
Starting this fall, the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities will be revisiting the Student Code of Conduct for the first time since 1996. The change intends to make the Code of Conduct easier for students to understand and more accurately represent the university's current priorities. This updated code also corresponds with the new sexual and gender-based harassment and interpersonal violence policy that the university adopted in July. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Oh my gosh, Izzy. Michael, what's wrong? Trump just tweeted again. Oh my God. I guess we're gonna have to debate about it. This is Colonial Crossfire.
Welcome back. Over the course of the month, various natural disasters have destroyed Southeast Asia. According to BBC, on September 28th, the city of Palu in Indonesia was bombarded by an earthquake on the seafloor, followed by a devastating tsunami. The disaster was unexpected and left an unprepared Indonesia with a death toll of 1,500 and counting. On September 6th, a few weeks prior, Japan was struck by a magnitude 6.7 earthquake, injuring over 600 people, according to CNN. The earthquake caused a disastrous landslide to follow soon after. The disasters caused 3 million households to lose power.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, was criticized for delayed response to victims of Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico last year. In the aftermath of Hurricane Florence this past September, reporter Madeline Taylor looked at the responses and how they compared.
In September 2017, the nation braced itself as pummeling winds and dangerous floodwaters destroyed homes, communities, and lives. According to USA Today, 2017's monster hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria were 3 of the costliest storms of all time. And the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the agency assigned to handle natural disasters, couldn't keep up either. According to FEMA's after-action report for Hurricane Maria, existing plans were developed for the occurrence of a single incident instead of the bombardment of 3 Category 4 hurricanes. The timing of Harvey, Irma, and Maria made it impossible for higher-ranking FEMA staff to respond to disasters, leaving unqualified agents in areas of utmost distress. By the time the last hurricane hit Puerto Rico, many supplies were exhausted. But just recently, with Hurricane Florence, FEMA responded more effectively. In the aftermath of the Category 1 hurricane that swept through the Carolinas this September, FEMA has reportedly responded to disasters more efficiently. Not even 1 month after Hurricane Florence, less than 5% of citizens were without power. Meanwhile, it took almost an entire year for power to be restored in Puerto Rico after Maria. With only 1 month left in the 2018 hurricane season, more storms are expected to hit. The nation should prepare accordingly and hope that FEMA does too. Reporting for GWeek, this is Madeline Taylor.
Thanks, Madeline. Early in the morning on September 29th, a fire at American University forced many students to evacuate onto the campus quad. The street outside the northern residence halls were occupied by smoke, some of which made its way into the buildings. An AU hall monitor reports that the fire caused power outages, issues with water, and limited elevator usage. The blaze was extinguished around 10 a.m. and the power issues were resolved later that afternoon. However, all food vendors were closed on campus for the day, causing a major inconvenience for AU students.
Council member and former mayor Vincent C. Gray has some grievances with the D.C. nightclub Eagle after he was allegedly injured by a bouncer. The 75-year-old councilman was refused entry into the nightclub with his council ID and refused again when he failed to show state-issued ID. A club bouncer then removed the councilman from the premises after a verbal disagreement. Since then, Gray has taken to Twitter and local news outlets to express his outrage following the event. Ethan, do you think you're going to be going to clubs at the age of 75?
Absolutely, but I hope they let me in.
God, I hope not. We'll be right back.
I don't know if I like
Hey, Cole. Yeah. Thank God we don't all look the same.
Mayor Muriel Bowser presented the annual Art All Night Festival last month, where local artists had had the opportunity to present their work throughout the district in an all-night citywide exposition. This year, the free festival included everything from paintings to performance art. The festival included work from 100 artists and spanned 8 neighborhoods, with both public and private venues.
Pay close attention, street food lovers. GWeek reporter Elizabeth Dewey uncovered the stories of some of the most popular food trucks in D.C. at the monthly Truckaroo event in Navy Yard's Bullpen.
On the last Friday of every month between April and October, the world-famous food truck festival, Truckaroo, is held at the Bullpen. The festival showcases the hottest food trucks in the DC area and features live music, cold drinks, games, and more. We went around and asked a few people what they had tried so far.
We got barbecue truck right below us. Pretty solid. I'd got to go there again if I were here.
After checking out the barbecue bus, we heard a lot about tacos matadores.
I got a steak quesadilla. I got a steak taco. Chicken tacos. It was a Mexican enchilada truck downstairs.
We asked the owner for some insight.
We have been here working on DC for almost 11 years. 28. Chicken burrito.
A fellow GW student told us about her order.
So I always get a chicken taco, which comes with lettuce, cheese, and pico de gallo, but I'm not a tomato person, so I get beans instead of pico de gallo.
Taco Matadores even has vegetarian options, like the veggie burrito. If tacos and barbecue aren't your thing, there are still plenty of options. Another food truck that we couldn't stop hearing about was People's Bao, serving up traditional Chinese steamed bread rolls. We wanted to learn more about the story behind this truck.
It's a food truck for 2 years. It's a lot of work. Would you like to help?
After trying a bite of my pork mini buns, it was easy to understand the hype behind this place. With nearly 150 food trucks, it's great that DC has an event that brings so many different types of foods and cultures together in the Bullpen. This has been Elizabeth Dewey reporting for GWeek.
Thanks, Elizabeth. This year on GWeek, we're chasing a new beat. Here to talk about it is GWeek reporter Devin Link. Devin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So Devin, tell us about this new beat. We're all pretty excited about it.
In the past at GWeek, we've focused our coverage on larger events here at GW. But we want to take a step back to really highlight the individuals within our community that define GW. Reporter Caroline Bowers interviewed 2 GW seniors who are finding fame on social media. Take a look.
Beyond classes and clubs, some GW students have outside passions that distinguish them in ways that others may not know about.
We first started District Foodies kind of for ourselves and for our friends, and it had maybe 20 followers. It was something small, it was something fun that we did, and it just started growing from there.
4 years ago, GW seniors Victoria Cavanaugh and Alex Babakowski decided to explore their passion for food through developing a food-focused Instagram page.
So we both knew New Fork City, which is like my dream. So we sat down and we were like, let's do something like this if we can. We love food, so let's eat. We eat out a lot, so let's just, you know, take photos of where we're going and then post it on our food Instagrams, and we can keep like a record of all the places we've been.
Cavanaugh and Babakowski soon found their Instagram, District Foodies, would be more successful than they had ever imagined.
We started in September of 2015. By January 2016, we had like 1,000 followers at that point, and we thought it was a big deal.
Today, the District Foodies page is extremely influential, with more than 1,000 posts, restaurant partnerships, and over 52,000 dedicated followers. Outside of Instagram, Babakowski and Cavanaugh have been personally recognized by members of the DC community, demonstrating the true success of the page to DC locals. Babakowski remembers the first time she was recognized in public.
She like came up to me and just like rushed towards me, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're District Foodies!" And I'd never seen this girl in my life.
Through the development of their page, Cavanaugh and Babakowski have become experts in their process, earning them food critic status in established restaurateurs' eyes.
They'll talk to us and they'll say, "Hey, like we'd love to have you in. We're opening a new restaurant," or "Hey, we love your food. We'd just love to have you in." So we'll go someplace, we'll sit down, we'll order whatever we want, take photos, and then after that, usually we'll do a giveaway, and that's a great way for us to connect with our followers and also gain more followers in the process, and who doesn't love free food, so.
Finding success on the increasingly competitive social media market has not been easy. With new accounts popping up every day, Cavanaugh and Babakowski constantly find themselves needing to defend their status as the third largest DC food Instagram to ambitious competitors.
How do you be different when everyone's doing this? And that's something that we're constantly looking at, is how do we do new things? How do we go to restaurants where other bloggers haven't been?
Now seniors, Cavanaugh and Babkowski are positive the globalized nature of Instagram will allow them to continue to grow district foodies, regardless of where the future takes them.
This is how blogging works now. You don't necessarily need to write posts on posts on posts. It's really photo-based with kind of short captions, and this is how people not only learn the news, but learn about kind of new and exciting things in cities.
Cavanaugh and Babkowski look back at their success with pride and appreciate the platform they've been able to grow over their college years.
We didn't really think it was going to be anything big, but it was a surprise, so.
For GWeek, I'm Caroline Bowers.
If you know anyone at GW we should take a look at, shoot us a tweet at GWTV.
Thanks for joining us, Devin. DC is getting back in the Halloween spirit with Smithsonian's annual Boo at the Zoo event beginning October 19th and running through October 21st. The all-ages event draws in large crowds of family for trick-or-treating, watching animal demonstrations, and enjoying live entertainment. Festive decorations and lights line the animal enclosures and exhibits, creating a spooky effect for the night.
Well, that's our show. You can catch more content from us or other shows at gw-tv.com.
And like always, we'll see you around campus.